So just like the movie with the little green people in there walking around going, Mars attacks, right?
Mars is attacking. Mars is on the move. Mars is in the sign of Aries, and Mars stays in a sign for about 6 weeks or so, which is where we're really fired up, giving something our undivided attention, predominantly for ego gratification. Well, Mars has been in Aries for 6 weeks, and now this week, on Thursday, it goes into the sign of Taurus. So that shift changes where you're going to be putting a whole bunch of energy into. And so I thought people need to know, where is this going to impact me? So for Pisces, it's in their third house of day-to-day living. Pisces has spent a boatload of money over the last 6 weeks or so, and at least that spending stops. But now the pace of their day-to-day living picks up, and I don't know whether they get a second job to pay for what it is that they just spent a bunch of money on, but the pace of their day-to-day living picks up to warp speed. They need to accommodate that. For Aries, it's in their second house of finance, of money, of real estate and property. And for Aries, they're going to find themselves spending a boatload of money on property repairs, real property repairs, not intellectual stuff, but real physical, tangible kind of property. And it's 6 weeks of unanticipated expenses. So my words are, fix it right the first time, because it'll end up costing you more if you try and go cheap early. For Tauruses, Mars is in their sign for the first 2 years. So it is a brand new 2-year cycle of where they're going to project their energy out into the world. And it just means that the last 6 weeks they've been a little bit behind the power curve, feeling kind of sluggish, feeling kind of slow. Mars in their sign fires them up. And it's a good time for them to start new projects, to create new things, to do new things that are all about the Taurus getting what they want and what they need. So, which I think is a cool thing.
I think my wife Pat will love that.
I think she'll be happy to hear that, because she needs the energy. She's been so behind the power curve. Yep. So it's a matter of energy returning to them. For Geminis, which is our new president, this is a very difficult 6-week cycle. This is a cycle of finding out who your secret enemies are, who is working against you, and the things that you do that shoot yourself in your own foot. That kind of a thing. And they have to be really careful who they trust and who they take advice from. And that's a good idea in general. Mm-hmm. But they want to make sure that they're not listening to someone whose agenda is to trump theirs.
So to speak.
I know. I couldn't resist. For Cancers, it's in their 11th house of hopes, wishes, goals, and objectives. And it's a great time to achieve a long-standing hope, wish, goal, or objective. And it's going to take the help of their female friends and colleagues to make that happen. So it's a very positive time for Cancers. So, and it's all sorts of new starts in a variety of different areas. For Leos, it's in their 10th house of career and public standing. And so Leos are going to have some sort of professional issue over the next 6 weeks or so. And they need to stand their ground. This is something where they're going to be influenced by outside sources. And I almost want to say it's like, oh, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And the Leos should not believe that for a minute. The Leos should know that they need to stand their professional grounds without being belligerent.
Gotcha.
Okay. For Virgos, this is a good time for them. It's in their 9th house of the law. Legal matters, educational matters, contracts, negotiations, any kind of agreements are very favorable for the Virgo over the next 6 weeks or so. And any kind of contracts, they can feel kind of confident in signing. For Libras, it's in their 8th house of other people's money. And it's a matter of unanticipated expenses for Libras. And it's not even for fixing their own stuff. It's like if you have a girlfriend, her car breaks down, you have to fix that. It's that kind of a thing. It's a matter of, and the result is you'll be shoring up your jointly held resources doing it, but it's not going to make it any easier for the Libra, to go ahead and write the check. For Scorpio, it is in, and again, Hillary Clinton is a Scorpio, it's in their 7th house of open enemies and attacks, and they're going to feel that everybody is yelling at the Scorpio. Libras have been feeling that for the last 6 weeks. It changes. Now everybody is yelling at the Scorpio and pointing fingers at the Scorpio. So, and they have to pick and choose their battles wisely. They have to pick and choose their allies wisely, because otherwise it can come back to really bite them. For Sagittarians, it's in the 6th house of work, and sadly, nothing but hard work awaits Sagittarians. And they're the least fans of hard work. This is the kind of thing where there's not a lot of glory to it. There's not a lot of reward to it. It's just a matter of nose to the grindstone, and hard work is what it takes. And there's some kind of medical issue, and Sagittarians are the procrastinators of the zodiac, and do not procrastinate this time. Get it done immediately. Capricorn's 5th house of love affairs, children, sports, amusements, pleasure. Great energy for Capricorn. They've been going through a lot of upheaval at home, trying to shore up their foundations. That's all done, and much like the Munchkins, time to come out and play after the Wicked Witch was dead. And then for Aquarius, the last sign, 4th house of home and foundations. They're going to be remodeling their home, refurbishing their home, doing something to shore up their home or having to make some kind of necessary repairs at home. And they just need to bite the bullet and do it, because it's not going to be glamorous, but it's going to make it a lot more of a solid foundation for them. So that's tomorrow's news today for the 12 signs of the zodiac, with Mars on the move from Aries into Taurus.
Well, thank you, ma'am, and we'll see you next week. Do
Always
it again.
a pleasure.